Hey, this is Dr. Tom Rogers on our weekly talk to you. It's Sunday night. Hopefully, you'll get this tomorrow. I'm on my back porch of the house I grew up in. As you can see, we built this house in 1966 when I was 11 years old. And here I am living at the same place, I don't know how many years later, 50 some years later, so in Kingsport. So anyway, today I want to talk to you about a very interesting subject: how to find a good primary care doctor. I've been doing a lot of reading on this because I get a lot of people that come to me and they really haven't been treated right, in my opinion, by their primary care doc. So everybody needs certain characteristics to look for in your primary care doc. Your family doc or your internist. When you get a surgeon or a specialist you go to, you really shouldn't care. The only thing you're looking for there is to make sure they're good at operating or doing your scope or cath or whatever. The personality is not as important. But when you have a family doc, there's really 4 characteristics that you need to look for. I call it the 4 A's. And the first one's advocacy. And that's really a doctor that knows how to get you what you need, who will be your patient advocate, how to get your testing done, say your mammogram, your colonoscopy, or things that you really need to get done. Where's the best place to get it? If you get a bad result, how to help guide you through the maze of what to do next. Very important that you have a doctor that's going to advocate for you and be on your side and that you can trust. The second A is affability. Now, that means somebody who is human. He listens to you, he or she listens to you and talks with you, not down to you. You'd be amazed at how many crazy stories I hear about the way doctors sometimes treat their patients. And it's really kind of shameful. To me, it means they don't like their job. And, there's so much burnout with doctors. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And most of it's not under the doctor's control, but it gets to them. There's an art to medicine that's probably as important as the science of medicine. So you need to get somebody that has some personality that actually listens to you and that will work with you, not tell you what to do, because people are different. Some people don't want to do certain things, and you have to kind of give them the pros and cons and accept their decision. I have a lot of patients that don't want to take certain type of medications, like a statin or something. I'll give them my advice on it, but if they don't want to take it, then I'm fine with it. I'll find other ways. The third A is availability or access. Does your doctor have same-day appointments open on the schedule? If you need to be seen, you need to be seen that day, or at least get on the phone with you and either do a telemedicine visit or tell you what you need to do. Maybe you need to go to the ER. Which ER do you need to go to? Or at least talk to them about something they can do over the phone. Maybe they don't even need to come see you. We're doing so much telemedicine now, and people love it. It's cheaper, it's quicker, and you probably can stay at your job or your home. You may be looking for your kids or need to work that day. Hopefully get great advice through telemedicine. The fourth one is ability. 50% of what we learned in medical school is just flat out wrong. And the other 50% is probably out of date. So that tells me 100% of what we learned is either wrong or out of date. So, you need to find somebody that keeps up with things, because there's, in general, a lag between a new finding in medicine and when it is mainstream. That lag is about 12 to 20 years. It's just amazing. So you need to ask your doctor, how curious are you about learning? How long have you practiced? I think experience is so important. Are you into prevention? How much time are you going to spend with me? What advanced labs do you do? And how do you interpret those labs? Do you consider what other things may interplay with these things and my lifestyle? What conferences every year do you go to? What are your interests? Those are things you need to ask your doctor. Um, because as doctors, we're either going to help you or hurt you. If we're over testing you and over treating you, which I see all the time, then it's better you don't even see us. So, there's the human body's an amazing machine. A lot of times it'll heal on itself. So, if you get a doc that's just going to throw a bunch of medicines at you based on what your labs look like, you're in the wrong place. Or if you go to a doctor who won't listen to you, and you can kind of get a pretty good feeling on whether that's happening or not. So it's very important. Good judgment, I think, is important with a physician, especially a primary care physician who's almost like the quarterback of the team. We have to know the specialist on a personal basis. We need to be able to call them. Hey, what would you do with this? Here I have an unusual case. I need your feedback on it. And most of them are very happy to talk on the phone to us and, give guidance because we're really their life bread, really, because we send them patients. A lot of stuff has to run through the primary care doc. So, and you got to think, is your doc okay with you being average or just below average a little bit? In my opinion, they shouldn't be. You don't want average because the average American is, overweight, tired, out of shape. Just, our average Americans have gone down in the last few decades that I've been alive. I mean, back in the 1960s when I was a kid, I didn't see hardly any obese people. I mean, how many diabetics did you see? Hypertensives. I mean, fact is, we live in a very, toxic, stressful world. Nobody sleeps as much or exercises much. They're more stressed out with their work. So you need to kind of not accept average because your average right now on that bell curve is a D minus 2 or 3 decades ago. So these are things I think are important to look for when you are looking for a primary care doc. And a lot of times, most of the time, it's really not your doctor's fault. There's so much red tape and bureaucracy that a primary care doc has to navigate through that a lot of times, out of necessity, the patient is almost secondary because they have to find a code for something or, talk to something to get a prior approval on. That's why I threw out insurances about 15 years ago. And guess what? I became a lot better doctor, had more time for my patients. I'm not giving you this soliloquy to have you come to see me. I just want you to, because obviously I can't see everybody, but I try to teach the doctors and mid-levels that work with me to act this way. But it's tough. I mean, finding a good primary care doc is not an easy thing now. I mean, most people that come out of medical school now do not want to go into primary care, and you can't blame them. It's low paid compared to most of the other specialties, half, and it's harder work. I mean, it's harder to be a generalist than it is a specialist. To know a lot about everything than to specialize in one particular area. Now, these docs that do, I admire them. They're brilliant, and it's just amazing, the maze that they've had, that all of us really have had to navigate to get where we are. So those are some of my tips. Listen to yourself, trust your instincts, and if you are not finding the doc to listen to you, or spend time with you, or run the right test, or maybe they're overprescribing and they're not helping your lifestyle. I mean, most people that come to me, either they're really tired or they hurt. So, most people come to the doc because of one of those two reasons, unless it's their regular physical exam or something, or refills or a cold or something. So, trust your judgment on that. If you're not happy, find another doctor. So I hope this helps you. Next week, we'll probably go over some more of the things about COVID. Last week's podcast and notes about COVID received more response than we've ever had by far. It was just a great podcast, a lot of great responses that we got. And we'll give it another week before I give you another update on COVID. Yes, I am still very optimistic about where we're headed. So don't fear too much. Don't listen to the news too much either. Do the right things that we've been told to do. But hopefully next week we'll even be at a better spot. So next week we'll have another update on COVID. Any questions, don't hesitate to call my office or email us. Thanks. This is Dr. Tom Rogers. We'll see you next week.